So one big question that me and I'm sure a lot of you guys have had since the announcement of Marathon has been, what is this ranked mode gonna look like? And I know that we've seen something along the lines of a ranked mode in Arc Raiders with its trial system, but that, at least for me, is not really that fulfilling to go through week to week just for a couple skins or whatnot. And of course, you do up your rank, your trials rank, but a big question that we've had since April of last year when Ziegler first came out to tell us about the different systems in the game is, how are they going to add a ranked mode? And we haven't heard much about it over the last year or two. And honestly, I completely forgot about it. I thought it would just be an afterthought or something similar to a trial system. But according to these leaks that we've gotten today, coming from a reliable data miner and leaker, XOX Leak on Twitter, and an article on npfirst.com that details all of it, we might be getting a pretty interesting new system. I think it might change how we look at this entire genre. It's actually kind of crazy what potentially is coming. And keep in mind, this is all with a grain of salt. We don't know anything for sure. All we know is that this info is coming from a reliable data miner who's been right in the past, but let's go over some of the systems that will be in this. Okay, so firstly, you have to select a zone, assemble a loadout that matches or exceeds a gear ante, so a gear score, right? I assume that would be based off of cost, so how much money your entire loadout may be, but it might also be like a general average of rarity of your items. So we don't really know that for sure, but let's just assume it's based on price. And you need to purchase a Holotag to set the score target with. In order to enter ranked mode, you have to have a Holotag. So these Holotags are something kind of interesting, right? Where you kind of have to bet on the front end that you're going to make it out alive and potentially with even more loot than you started with. And that would essentially up your ranked score, right? And apparently from this guy's findings, the zones that are featured in this ranked mode will change each week to spice things up. Okay, so it looks like there's going to be a weekly rotation of maps where ranked takes place. Kind of like how any other competitive game does it. Now, as far as the ranked progress, it is initiated by extracting high value loot. So progress is made based off of the credit value of the loot found during the run, and players must meet or exceed the set score target in order to make progress. So it's not based on kills necessarily, but it is based on the things that you collect over your run. So theoretically, you could go into ranked, let's say with a key, like a key card, open up a high value loot room, loot everything, avoid everybody, and extract safely, and that would up your rank. So, it doesn't have to be competitive in the same way that Apex is, or that Fortnite or whatever competitive game that you're thinking of. You don't necessarily have to engage in PvP, although remember, the best loot boxes are other players. So if you get the jump, that might be an easy way for you to get what you need in order to rank up. So the ranks, as far as we know in these leaks, are as follows: bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and pinnacle. And it says there's mention of a master ranked, which they're assuming is for the very best of the best, or like the top percent, similar to like what I'd assume how Ruby rank works in the finals, where you get awarded the master rank after the season is over, and it only goes to the top 500 players on the leaderboard. And then each rank would have its own subdivision, so like bronze 2 or silver 3, gold 1, etc. When it comes to the rewards for rank, all that it's specifically talking about are cosmetic items. Now it's saying other rewards will be given after the season's over. So some of them you'll get immediately after achieving a rank. Some of them you'll get after the season's over, I assume, for like those special ranks as well, depending. Anyway, so one thing I wanted to talk about before we get further into this is this idea of a gear ante. So in order to enter a ranked mode, you need to have a certain level of gear across your entire team. That's sort of the language we've been getting as Bungie's been talking more and more about the Cryo Archive map, the endgame map on the Marathon ship. They're saying you need to bring your best gear or you're not going to get far. Now, some people could interpret that as you can bring in anything, but you have no chance if you don't bring anything good. But what a lot of other people are interpreting that as is you actually need to have end game level builds in order to enter this Marathon ship. And so with these ranked leaks coming out, it really does look like they have a gear score implemented into the game. So I wonder if this sort of Holotag system is something that you'll need to participate in order to get to the Marathon ship itself. So for example, buying a Holotag or buying a key or a ticket that allows you to enter the Marathon ship one time. And that would prevent people from spamming it once they get to a certain level or a certain vault rank or whatever. And it keeps that feel like, okay, we've got everything that we need. We're geared up, our synergy's up. Let's risk it all on this big payday. So I'm really liking these systems that they have in place. According to the leaks, of course, you know, grain of salt, remember that. Okay, so it looks like all players will have access to the low stake zones for ranked matches, and players ranked platinum or higher will have access to higher stake zones. Now, I don't know if there will be 2 different zones per week, but that's something that we'll see as they introduce this ranked mode into the game. And I don't think they're gonna introduce it right away. I think that this is something that we would get maybe after we learn what's in Vault 7, what we get in Cryo Archive, etc. Okay, so now they've got more about the actual scoring system. So in order to mark scores in a match, players must have a Holotag equipped to contribute to the score. No Holotag means no contribution to the score. Now, does that mean that every player needs a Holotag in order to contribute to the ranked score, or does that mean that there's one Holotag across the team? That's something that we'll have to find out. Now, if players exfil a ranked match but have not reached the set score, this will translate to no loss in ranked progress, but the players also won't gain anything. Now, if you fail to extract in this ranked mode, there is a point loss equal to the set score target. So again, you pay to play. If you lose, you fail to extract, you incur those costs of entering in this ranked mode. It's another level of risk added onto the already tense and risky format. I'm dude, this is looking sick. Okay. Now, another thing too, if you're in a match and you loot a Holotag from another runner, it'll add points to your score and it'll make it possible to score points higher than your set score target. Interesting. Okay, so like if my score target is 10,000 credits and I steal another player's Holotag and their score target was say 2,500, does that increase me to 12,500 score target? So I have the ability to then gain more ranked points than I would have if I just exfil with my Holotag. That's pretty interesting. Okay, and then there's more information on the different levels of Holotags. Let's see. Okay, yeah, okay. Oh, I was musing on it and it literally details exactly how it works. So basically how it works is from bronze all the way to pinnacle, you purchase your Holotag, and as you enter the game, it gives a certain level of credits towards your score target, and then you of course loot more and more in order to increase that score target. Now, if you loot someone else's Holotag, it increases your score target by a set number of credits. So for silver, for example, looting someone's silver Holotag will increase the capacity of your score target by 1,000. If you load in with a pinnacle Holotag, for example, you'll start off with 20,000 credits towards your score target. And if you loot someone else's, it expands your credit capacity of your score target by 4,000. Now, it looks like you might be able to enter some ranked zones solo, but not all the zones you'll be able to enter. Okay, so that's pretty much the end of the article. That's all we got from the data miner, but it really does look pretty interesting. I genuinely thought it would be a similar kind of collect this, collect that, do this one task thing that we have in Arc Raiders. But I'm really happy to see that they're pushing the ante and adding a real like competitive ranked mode to an extraction shooter, and it's not based on kills or being the last one on the map. It's based on loot, which is the most important thing in an extraction shooter. The idea is to get in, get your stuff, and get out. But there is incentive to kill other players and take their holotags. Now, one more thing I'm interested in is if you load into a ranked zone, am I only getting loaded in with other ranked participants, or am I loading into any zone? And so if I kill a team, there may not be a bespoke benefit of, you know, I may not see a holotag every time that I take down a team. Of course, that's something that we'll have to see. Also with Marathon's revive mechanic, you could take 2 out of 3 of a team down, take their holotags and dip, and then your teammate might be able to, you know, resurrect their team and still exfil, but now they're at a deficit, or not a deficit, but they don't gain anything from that run necessarily because they no longer have their holotags. And I do assume that when you load into the ranked mode, you're going to load in with other teams playing that ranked mode. It'll just be interesting to see how all this unfolds. So that's it for me. If you want some more content, I already have a video out on the best compositions that you're going to want in your team, and this works perfectly regarding ranked. Like you're gonna want to know what works best so that you can get in and get your holotags and get your loot and get out safely. So anyway, it's been ATM. You guys have a good one. Peace.